Morning all. How's everybody doing today? North Country Fisher, Josh. What have we got? 4 people on. How's everybody doing? Hope you're all well. Literally just come back off a hi Ian. Just come back off a photography job. So I'm kind of still in full dress. I'm not in my comfort mode. But never mind. It's all good. Can't keep you guys waiting. But I am going to just upload my photos. It's kind of a ritual that I've got whenever I finish a job. I don't do anything else till I get loaded up. So we've got the compact flash drive reader. Hey Tree. Hector. We have the Glitterati in tonight. North Country Fisher, yeah. No, I didn't say Politburo. I said the Glitterati. You heard Politburo. Obviously. Selective hearing is what my mum calls it. You know how it is when the women are whining in the background. You kind of just don't hear them in inverted commas. And then as soon as they say something which you're interested, you suddenly perk up. Selective hearing, my mum calls it. You are indeed, Hector, you are indeed. Good evening, John. Well, you all guys will have seen the little mishap I had with this pipe. I was trying to improve on the countersink on this pipe, and I managed to lop off a whole section. But I've done a little repair, and I've restained it. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if it focuses. There, you can see that little hairline there, just over there. But it's gone in okay. It's I can use it. I've smoked it. It's pretty solid. I've glued it with some composite glue. It still wants a little bit more sort of love and attention, a little bit more sanding, a little bit more staining. I'm probably going to sand the whole thing back. I've actually been thinking about just taking this down a little bit further and going past the plateau. Because the plateau, although it's nice, it's not the most attractive plateau, but the real reason why I want to do it is because I'm a little bit, although I'm not OCD generally, but with pipes I like it to be right. If you can see there, just on the edge, there's some little hairline cracks. Now those are not cracks, those are the remnants of that plateau on this side, and I didn't see it when I stopped sanding, and only when I started sort of really getting down to the fine sanding and the staining, I noticed those lines. So I'm probably going to take it all the way down, go past that and get a nice smooth top, and just going to refinish it, sand it again, try to shape this joint a little bit better. The problem with that is that when you fiddle, you can tend to ruin things. That's my only gripe. My only worry is I'm nervous that I'll break it beyond repair. I don't know. I may just do the top and leave the rest, maybe not mess around with this, because this is already, an issue. I do want to thin the bite zone. I'm finding it a little bit too thick, but that's something I do want to do. But it smokes very well. Can't complain in terms of the smoking. Hi Toledo, thanks for joining. So, what shall we smoke? I must tell you, I left the pipe in the car. Never mind. I smoked on the way to my photography job. I had an absolutely glorious smoke. I smoked some, it was in the Bentley pipe, and I smoked some of that mixture that I've been smoking recently, which is this 40th anniversary and McBaron Pure Virginia. It's just powerful stuff. It's really fantastic. I'm thinking of doing another mix of it. I'm just a bit. What I'll probably do is, the idea of this was to dilute the 40th anniversary so that it would go longer, it would last longer. So I still have some. So I may just do a big batch of it, and I might just use either the mature Virginia from the vintage, whatever they call it, from the Danish pipe shop, my own blend, or it golden sliced. I haven't decided yet. It basically needs a good, sort of easy-going, straight Virginia. Good evening, Cal Delta. Yeah. Yes, Hector, the Bentley. By who? S-Bang fans out there, I don't know if you've heard, but they've announced their retirement. So I don't know. I don't know who I was reading about, but hopefully the prices won't go completely crazy now that they're stopping, because they didn't. They turned out quite a number of pipes, so hopefully the prices won't go too crazy. Balkan Supreme. I think I may have tried it in the past, but I haven't tried it a lot, and I know a lot of people smoke that. Is it supposed to be a bit of a take on Balkan Sobrani, right? Me neither, Quaker. I can't afford an S-Bang. To get even an estate one, you've got to be looking at spending between £600 to £1,000 for a fairly regular, not special estate S-Bang. And it's the same with all the high grades. I read about them all the time, but I'm just not in that bracket to be able to afford them, unfortunately. There's some, I'd love to get, I'd love to get a Jess Chonowitz, obviously, and any of the Eversons, but it's just completely out of my range. It's just not possible. Some Edgeworth in a Stanwell with a crooked bowl. Okay. I don't think I've ever smoked any Edgeworth. I've had a tin of the Edgeworth, some really old Edgeworth aromatic. I think I'll send that to Art. But I do see people cropping up with some Edgeworth slices, some old Edgeworth slices, and them saying that it's fantastic. So I would really like to try that. But a Nana is going to cost also in the thousands, isn't it, Hector? Butts Choquin. I don't know if Butts Choquin itself is shutting down, but certainly I've heard or read that a carving house that carved pipes for Butts Choquin has closed up shop. But it's possible that Butts Choquin is. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I definitely read somewhere that one of the St. Claude carving houses in France has closed shop. Right, okay, but hers will be up there soon enough. It's still, to buy one of hers, let's have a quick look and see what a Nana cost. Okay, so she hasn't actually had anything on the Danish pipe show for quite a while, because I've seen these three pipes for some time, which are sold. You can see the Lars Iverson influence there, without a doubt. And this sold for 8,000 euros. What? Yeah, 8,000 euros. You can see the influence there. You see that that rounded end of the stem. That's definitely a Lars Iverson influence there. You see Jeff Graysock doing similar kind of things, but that's definitely a Lars Iverson influence. She doesn't do 9mm. I don't think any of these guys do 9mm. I don't know if you're being sarcastic there or not, but no, they definitely don't. But S-Bang actually do, funnily enough. S-Bang is one of the only ones that I've seen. I'm not sure if I've ever heard of a Beau Nord in 9mm. I'm not sure. Let's see what Aunt Julie's got. Oh, I don't believe that sold. I cannot believe that sold. 17,000 euros. Yes, I'll say it again. 17,000 euros for this supposed work of art. I guess for some people it is. I can't get my head around it. Well, I think Sixten, Lars and Nana have done designs for Stanwell. That's one thing which is great about Stanwell, is that at least it brings you the influence. You know, you get those shapes from Stanwell, from all the great Danish carvers. And I think that's fantastic marketing, and it's also great for us to be able to get a little taste of those kind of pipes. I should really take note of the ones that I've bought, the special editions that I've bought, who the influence was, and I haven't. I should have done that. I mean, not all of them are the influence ones, but some of them are. It's sold. I mean, at least put it this way, they're saying that it's sold. So whether they maybe gave it back, who knows, to Aunt Julie. But whether it's sold at 17,000, that's a different matter. Who knows if that's actually how it's sold. This one is a Lovat. How much was this one? 3,500. You know, obviously it's been made in a way to be arty. But I don't know. It's lost on me, I'm afraid. Okay, so then you've got a Teddy Knudsen, 17,000 euro. I can't believe that sold as well. You know, it's a nice pipe, but to me it hasn't got such superior grain. I mean, it has got great grain, but not 17,000 euros worth of grain. I just don't see it. And you're obviously paying for the name. Good evening, Rich. How are you doing? Another Teddy Knudsen, 12,000 euros with a bamboo shank. Interesting. Oh well. I mean, to me, when I look at it, I can see things which would, to me, would be not something I would expect from people like this. But there you go. Another Teddy Knudsen, 11,000 euros. Oh, there's a lot of skill going into that one, that's for sure. That's a nice one. I'm not so impressed with the staining though, but never mind. Easy for me to criticise, I guess. Alright, let's look at the S-Bangs. S-Bang pipes. So there was a whole bunch of these added a few weeks ago, and they sold. There was about 20 added, and they sold immediately, almost immediately. I was shocked. I imagined that it was a collector or somebody who perhaps had inside knowledge and knew that they were stopping carving. I wonder if that's the case. Now that I've heard that they've stopped, that makes sense actually. Yeah. And what I've noticed with the S-Bangs is they tend to have quite a thick shank. And I actually do like that. And I was looking at some of the Lars Iversen ones as well, and the Nana Iversens, and that seems to be not in every case, not in all the pipes, but a lot of them it seems to be they have quite wide shanks, not so long, so they're not quite stubby pipes, but not far off. Let's just go back to Nana. When I first started making pipes, I started making really thin shanks, and then I went to quite fat shanks, and now I'm kind of sort of in between, depending on the type of pipe, obviously. But here, you see this? So quite a sort of thick. It's actually quite a stubby pipe, but it's got a really good balance to it. I actually really do like her pipes. It's just a shame that you couldn't get that in 9mm, but certainly it's something I could try to copy. At least the shape of the pipe I could try. You know, all very similar kind of lines, similar kind of shape, an apple kind of bowl with a quite a short stubby shank. S-Bangs are a market commodity. Well, I'm sure all of these people are. I mean, a Sixten Iversen, if anybody could find a Sixten Iversen unsmoked, you know, it's probably worth 30,000-40,000 nowadays. I think in one of the shows recently in America, an unsmoked one went for about $30,000 or something like that. Who else are some of the big boys? Tom Eltang his prices are usually between €600 to maybe 3,000 or 4,000 for his snail ones. Let's have a look. Well, these ones, the basic ones, are €150, which it's in an easy, cheap way into an Eltang. Well, that's all he's got. There's no others. Oh no, that's the basics. 1 second. Eltang basics. Maybe it's under T for Tom. Yeah, Tom Eltang. Alright, so here's Tom Eltang. The last Greybow for 15,000. Seriously? Oh my gosh. So his ones are certainly a lot more affordable. This is a snail pipe from Tom Eltang. The snail grade is his highest grade. There you can see the little snail there. €1,800. Well, that looks like some kind of horn or something there, or stabilized wood of some kind. Mammoth. Okay. It's 1,800. I thought his snail would be higher. I thought it would be more money. That's not bad. This one's on sale. €900. Very nice. There you go. If anybody wants to get one of his pipe cleaner holders, €96. There's my one. Good one, Rich. Slow to pay for, I think, more than anything else. That's an interesting shape. St. Valentine's. There was a time, I would say about a year ago, where he put on a batch of 9mm ones of these pokers. And I was very close to pulling the trigger on one, but I didn't. They were about €500-600, and I just didn't have that kind of money to spare. Maybe one day. Who knows? Anyhow, time to fire up a pipe, I think. It is iconic, absolutely, Hector. That is Tom Eltang through and through. That's his, I guess you'd call that his signature shape. Right, I think I'm going to go for a bit of that 759 if I can find it. There we go. I got the last maybe one pipe's worth of Danish Pipe Shop BS 759, which I got from Stephen, Cobbett of the Shire. Save for an LCS, absolutely rich. Couldn't agree with you more. This fella is still to be had. A beautiful billiard. Look at that band. Isn't it gorgeous? Nice grain. Bit of birdies on the base. It sure is pretty. Right. Well, I think I'll just finish this off and be done with it. Another bag I can put away. I don't have to worry about storing it. Right, I think I shall smoke it in the Son Refberg. Let's get her loaded. There's a lot to be said for the homebrewed tobaccos. Thank you, North Country. Yeah, I'm doing that quite a lot these days, Rich. Just, you know, putting a few different tobaccos together. That's where London Fog came from in the first place. But I'm just enjoying putting stuff together, which in my head seems like might be a good idea, and just sort of seeing if it is or not. Oh, nice OCD. You got a Rocks Cut Northern Briars 60th. I still haven't fired up my Northern Briars 60th. I got a smooth and sandblast. This tobacco is awesome. The thing about this 759, as soon as you fire it up, the first second you put a flame to it, even before you've drawn, you get that beautiful sweet, sour, musty aroma. That musty, smoky, sweet smokiness. Tobacco made and grown in the UK, really? The blends, the Seattle Pipe Club range has grown exponentially since I first started smoking it. When I first started smoking Seattle Pipe Club, it was just that I knew about. It was just Mississippi River and plum pudding. But now there's so many different ones. I just don't know if they really are they very, very different. Have you guys tried them? Good evening, Pascal. Langford is a beast. In what respect? Yeah, there was a time when I had a lot of the Special Reserve plum pudding, but I passed it on. I sold it, I think, in one of my sales. I've got, I think, 1 tin of the Special Reserve, and I've got 1 regular tin with the old white label, and I think I've got an old Mississippi River as well. Hey Everett, I won't be smoking that tobacco. I think I mentioned it once in one of my videos before, because it has an ingredient in it which I can't smoke. So as much as I don't like passing on gifts, I probably will end up passing that one on. This tobacco is fantastic. I think I'm going to have to try and get some from the Danish pipe shop. It's really, really good. No, it's nothing harmful. It's just a cultural thing, a religious issue, because it contains grapes. Wine, there you go. Well, wine has a separate classification. Tobacco doesn't have to be kosher. I can have tobacco which has got toppings on it. I do all the time. But wine is a different matter. It's not about the ingredients so much. Wine does have to be kosher. It's not that it's alcohol. We drink alcohol all the time. It's just wine has to be kosher. How you doing, Mike? I see on your email, no reservations. So I just deleted it straight away. When they're going live, Mike? The POTYs. Good evening, Joe. How you doing? Favorite asset of the intelligentsia. And he has hair on his face as well, Hector. Have you become her suit again, Hector? Very Francis Drake, Hector. At least that's how you used to look with your little goatee. Very much like the old pictures of Sir Francis Drake. Very Spanish, in fact. Sorry, Basque. This tobacco is great. Guys, you should try it. BS 759, which is a Balkan Sobrani match made by my own blend. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Prove it, Hector. All indications are that you are. Morning, George. Do I have a daily tobacco? The closest thing that I have to a daily tobacco is probably Northwoods, but it's not really a daily tobacco. I smoke Virginias probably more often than Northwoods, but in terms of a single tobacco, I probably smoke Northwoods more than the others, because when it comes to Latakia blends, I reach for the Northwoods more than any other Latakia blend. So it's kind of that against all the different Virginia blends, and I smoke various different Virginia blends. So I couldn't really say which one was a daily. There's Virginia blends, and then there's some light aromatics like Erinmore, that kind of thing, which I smoke quite a bit. So it's all of those against Northwoods, really. So Northwoods, I would probably say, still, out of all of them, gets smoked the most. Mike, I think both eyebrows at the same time. He speaks in tongues. With an S. You sound like you're getting rattled, Hector. Well, somebody got it. Thank you, Hector. You're not the intelligentsia for nothing. What tobacco did you get there, OCD? Hector, what have you been smoking these days? What have you been smoking most? I mean, I don't need to ask Mike, because I'm sure it's Escudo more than anything else. Countryside, Northwoods, Burley something, and I forget. How would you define Countryside as compared to Northwoods, OCD? Hey, Wildcat, how you doing? Elizabethan. Ooh. Haven't smoked that in a while. Old Dominion from Watch City. Now, you were talking about that the other day, weren't you? But that's a new tobacco for you, Mike, isn't it? Grousmore. Isn't that a Lakeland? What type of tobacco is that, Mike? Is that a Latakia blend? Oh, it's a vapor. Okay. Well, if Grassmore is a Lakeland, that you won't find me trying it really. Hector, have you tried the Peterson Elizabethan? Really? McLaren's 2015. Okay. Stonehenge. Hasn't Stonehenge got a little bit of a Lakeland essence in there, Josh? Or have I got it wrong? I did have an open tin of it. I'm not sure if I kept it. But I've got a closed one somewhere, a sealed one, but I don't think I enjoyed it. What's that? Are you talking about the Lakeland OCD? That it goes away fast? Dunhill Flake, okay, that I can get with, Josh. And Full Virginia Flake. Full Virginia Flake. Full Virginia Flake for me is a bit of a hit and miss sometimes. I find it's a bit temperamental and it's very, I find it very nuanced and very subtle. And you got to really, I've said this before, you really got to sit and focus on it to enjoy it and to get the most out of it. And most of the time I haven't got the patience for that. A Lakeland is just something which has got some of that essence in it. I guess technically it's made up in the Lake District, but I think the Lakelands are the ones with the floral essence, the soapy floral kind of thing. Oh, Wildcat, you asked me about the vertigo. Yes, thankfully that's all gone. Thankfully I don't really suffer from it too much. I might get it once or twice a year, if that. But this time it wasn't too bad. It was just a general feeling of my head was a bit fuzzy. Quite a while back, going back quite a few years, I used to get it and it used to be quite debilitating. I would often get it in the morning when I woke up, and then when I would get out of bed everything would spin around and I'd have to just go back and lie down, and it would usually take 3 or 4 hours to pass, but thankfully I haven't had that level of vertigo for a long time now. The brown twist, that's what is that, like a dark flake? What is that, like a dark fired kind of Virginia? Nashville County. Haven't heard of that one. What type of tobacco is that, Pascal? Tom's Twist. Never heard of that either. It's not. Amphora would not be a Lakeland. Amphora Red. I wouldn't call it floral. It certainly has flavourings in there, but I wouldn't call it floral. You'll know a Lakeland when you smoke it. It's like smoking a pot of potpourri, that nasty potpourri. Which one is HU, Hector? %50 Perique. Wow, that must be quite pokey. Yeah, Ennerdale is actually, if you want to try something with a Nashville County, right? Okay, Ennerdale. I found Ennerdale to be one of the only Lakelands that I could actually tolerate for a little bit, every so often. I've got a little small jar of it somewhere. I actually like the aroma of it more than the taste. It's got a really nice sort of almond paste, like a marzipan-y kind of aroma. But that one I did smoke for a little bit. Bob's Chocolate, not so bad, because I think the Latakia overpowers that Lakeland Essence. The Lakeland Essence is there, and I find that the Lakeland Essence comes through a little bit later on down the bowl. And that's kind of why I stopped smoking it. When I first discovered Bob's Chocolate, probably about 3 years ago, I smoked it quite a lot. I bought quite a few tins of it, and then I kind of went off it, and maybe I've smoked it once or twice since then. But it's certainly an interesting tobacco, because it's kind of ticks a lot of boxes, and it kind of can satisfy you in lots of different ways. Bright CR flake. CR, is that the cherry one? Cherry vanilla? Yeah, you'd think so, OCD. Your wife should like it, flowers and chocolates. Excuse me. No, Cal Delta, I do not smoke Lakelands. Speaking of chocolates, got those the other day, my 28th wedding anniversary. My wife, gifts were kind of on the way, but she just gave me that with a card for the time being. Thank you, Rich. Hey, North Country, don't diss the Jaffa cakes. I like a good Jaffa cake. Good evening, Lone Star Piper. You used the proper context indeed, Rich. Well, that's interesting, Joe. Does that not have any Latakia in there? Is it just Orientals in that Balkan? Thank you, North Country. George, you're 21? You're a baby. Spring chicken. Smoking in public can be good fun, and it can be a little bit intimidating, depending on where you are, of course. But I do enjoy smoking outdoors. And it's not so much that I enjoy smoking outdoors that the smoke itself is better. I prefer to smoke indoors or in my car. But when I smoke out in public, I feel a sense of accomplishment. I feel a sense of, yeah, I'm smoking out in public, and other people are looking at me and seeing me smoke a pipe, and yeah, pipes are still around, and I'm smoking one. That's what I feel more when I smoke outdoors. I find that walking outdoors, the wind, the breeze disturbs me in my smoke. I still do it and enjoy it, but just not as much as indoors. I have got children his age. I've got children older than that. My oldest is 27. And you can do the math there, people. 27 with 2 children. Hey, Callum. That's a question which many people get asked, I think, especially in Beards, Pipes and Life. How you doing? The faces you get when you smoke in public, for sure. Especially the people going past. Those people. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. You got socks his age. Actually, I do too. I've still got the pair of socks that I wore on my wedding night. They were some serious pairs of socks. Very sheer. My oldest is 27. My youngest is 6. My youngest grandchild is 6 months. My oldest grandchild is also 6. Same age as my kid, my youngest. Pascal, I've got a few kids. Quite a few. So back to that desert island smoke. So the way I would look at it is thinking of all the tobaccos that I enjoy. I'm hoping to be at JJ's, yeah. I haven't been for a couple of months, so as long as I don't get a sort of short notice job, which now in my community it's the kind of engagement season, and I can get called 2-3 hours before a party. So, but it's unlikely. Possible, but unlikely. Are you going to be there? Are you in England, London? Hey Ken, how you doing? All right, where are you based? It'd be nice to meet you. Cool. I'm just looking at your channel. I haven't seen your channel before, but I'm going to hit the subscribe button right now. There you go. And I'll check out some of your videos. Gotta support us London boys. Croydon. A long time ago, I used to work for a property office, a property management office, and I used to do a lot of work down in South London. I used to cross over the Blackfriars Bridge very often. The company had properties around that area, down Vauxhall area, south of Norwood, those kind of areas. I don't know Everett. I can't sub everybody, but let me have a look. I do try, but I don't always get round to doing it. No, I'm not subscribed. I'm just looking at your channel. Can I give you some constructive feedback there, Everett? Your camera, you've got it on the vertical position, which doesn't make it easy to watch. Exactly, Josh. If you turn your phone horizontal, I think you'll have a lot more people watching. Tottenham. Oh, Tottenham Hotspurs. Those are officially the team that I support, Tottenham Hotspurs. I don't follow football really much these days, but when I was a teenager I did, and Tottenham was my team. The good old days of Ozzy Aldides, Ricky Villa, and then Gary Lineker. Glenn Hoddle was before that, slightly. Paul Gascoigne, Gaza. Those were the days. So you probably recognise a lot of the areas that I drive in the mornings. You lurk as much as you want, Matthew. You go right ahead. Uncle Phil did say he was going, so hopefully he will be there. West Ham, okay. Somebody's got to, I suppose. Yeah, right, George. Can't see them doing that, not for a long time. Now, about that rocks cut OCD. Ian Walker, I saw in a video recently, he coats his pipes with some oil before he stains it, or after he stains it. I think before he stains it. So it could be that if it's getting hot, that some of that is just getting a little bit tacky. You might want to have a word with them about that. Just send them an email. How many times have you smoked it, would you say? Is it fully broken in? First smoke, well there you go, that's probably why. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Once it's broken in a bit and you've got a little bit of a cake going on, a bit of carbon lining the inside of the bowl, hopefully that should be fine. It could be that the mix that he was using, or whatever it is he used to coat the bowl at the end, may have just been a little bit thicker than usual or something like that. I think he uses a white stain, a white sanding seal I use something similar on my rusticated pipes, and it could be that maybe he finished it without it fully having dried. I don't know. It's possible. I once had a Nerup pipe, not the Bulldog, which I had recently, but a couple of pipes before that. I had a Nerup which almost every time I smoked it, I got orange stain on my hands, and the staining obviously hadn't been sealed in properly. No Wimbledon Yobbo fans here? Vinnie Jones diehards? I don't know if we would ever be able to beat America, because they'd probably only turn up on the second half. Ooh! I'm just watching all my subscriber numbers drop now from all the Yanks. Absolutely, George. That's a classic line, isn't it? A bit like the French. We wouldn't beat the French either, because they'd be off home at half time. A Deluxe Lovat. You know, believe it or not, I no longer have a Blakemar. I haven't had a Blakemar for such a long time. I had a one which I gave to Dan. Remember Dan? Dan, the guy who rides a bike. Can't remember his name now. And he moved over to Italian pipes, and then I don't think he smokes a pipe anymore. He's too hooked on his biking. He does some fantastic pictures on IG. Oh. Yep, hockey is for girls only. Girls of either sex. KO3. Cricket, anyone? Yeah. How's that? Should have said that after that line. So what else is news, people? What else is interesting and exciting? Shane Warne. He's too busy scratching his balls the whole time. The cricket ball I'm talking about. should have said he's too busy scratching his balls down under. Down under. Oh, that's not good, OCD. What kind of money do you get? You're in Canada, right? What kind of fine did you get there? And what was the value of the order? Just to get an idea proportionally. What? No way. That's Canadian dollars, right? So what is that in US dollars? I'm assuming that's Canadian, OCD. Yeah, how much what was the value of the order, OCD, if you don't mind saying? No way, $325. My gosh. What was the weight, if you don't want to talk about money, what was the weight of tobacco that you had? Hi, Phil. 400 is 300 US dollars. That's a lot of money. That's a fortune. Whew. I probably would have just returned it. I'll tell you what I did have recently, and I was really quite angry about it. I was angry. I received a package. It was a pipe, actually. I'm trying to remember who it was from. I don't recall. I received a pipe from America, and they delivered it. I think it came from UPS or USPS, possibly. They delivered it, and then I got a bill through the post for the customs. So usually what happens is, when you get a delivery and you're out, you'll get a red ticket, a red card from the Royal Mail, and they'll tell you that you've missed a delivery. Come to the post office and pick it up. The sorting office. Hey, Chad. You go and throw some tea and have a party over there. What was I saying? Yeah, so normally you'd get the red card. Hey, red card, you're off. But if you get an international with a customs bill, you get a grey card, a silver card, and on it would say, your item has a customs bill to pay, therefore we didn't deliver it, come and get it, and you have to pay so much and so much. And that's fine, and that would be not an issue. But this time they just delivered it. They put it through the door and then realised as an afterthought that they hadn't charged me the customs, and they sent me a bill for £30. And I said, why should I pay this? I didn't ask for it. I didn't tell you to deliver it. You know, I might have refused it and not taken it. And anyway, in the end I paid it because it was just not worth starting to get into collection companies and fighting with them. It just wasn't worth the hassle. If it would have been a larger bill, then I might have contested it a little bit more robustly, but it just wasn't worth it. I'll tell you what it was, Josh. You see, the English of yore had a very keen sense of the future, and they looked into their balls, their crystal balls, and they saw a vision of orangeness, and they said, you keep it, and off they went, back home. No, we just made it look like we got beat. We just had to give you some pride, otherwise, you know, the United States would never have taken off. There would have been such low self-esteem, you know, so we just had to make it look like we got beat. This is the latest one, which I made last week, or this week I should say still. Had a bit of a mishap with it, and I managed, when I was trying to countersink it a little bit more, I lopped off a bit of the shank, and I've done a repair. You can just see the line there, but it's glued in very nicely, and I've restained it, and it goes in no problem, and it's very smokable. And I've smoked it once so far, so definitely have to keep smoking it to break it in. You spin it any way you wish, Josh, as long as you're happy. Wouldn't want you getting depressed now. OCD actually. I think I'm going to be going to Covent Gardens tomorrow. My wife has informed me that we're going out for the day. Josh. So I shall probably be popping into Cigar and Snuff tomorrow. Jock's Choice, what is that? Oh, it's snuff. Oh, right, I thought it was a tobacco. I'll be honest with you, it's a very quaint little shop, more like a kiosk. And it's good for the tourists, but to go in there to shop, the pipes cost a fortune, any half-decent pipes, and the tobacco, they have them in really nice old sort of earthenware jars, and it looks really cool and nice and sort of old style tobacco shop. But I think they're all sort of just bulk blends which they buy in from probably Garth Hogarth, Samuel Garth and McBaron. I don't think they actually blend them themselves. How does one use snuff? You snuff it up your nose. On the backy tray today is the remnants of the Danish pipe shop BS 759, which is a match for Bolton Sobrani 759, which is very good. It's a really, really good tobacco. I was raving about it before. A very nice, sweet, sour Latakia blend. It's really good. Up your nose. Like Coke. Diet Coke, in fact. Hey Robert. Toledo London Fog is very simple. It's two blends. It's Orlick Golden Sliced and Virginia Woods from McClellan's, if you can find it. Rowan Atkinson, indeed. Giuliani, Corona, Maduro, and a Jose El Piedra. Any good? Well, you be the judge of that. If you like them, then they're good. Personally, well, I'm not going to give you my opinion because I think that might have an effect on your own judgment. So try them out and let us know next week. And once you've smoked them, I'll tell you what my feelings are on that. So the Jose El Piedra, is that a Cuban? The Giuliani's not. I used to smoke the Giulianis quite a bit. I actually did enjoy those in the early days. I have a pipe with a gouge on the inside of the bowl about a 1/4 inch long, not too deep. Looks like maybe someone was a little in a scraper. Should I be worried about it? Was it when you bought the pipe or when you got it? Was it pre-lined? Did it have a coating? A factory-based coating? Something that was it a naked bowl or a coated bowl? Hi, Smoky Dragon. No, I haven't heard that. I'm just going to go to it on the other screen, otherwise I'll forget about it. Is that Bob Newhart tobacco video? Sir Walter Raleigh phone conversation? Is that the one? Oh, introducing tobacco to civilization. That one. Okay, yeah, I'll watch that. It was an estate pipe, okay. Well, I guess it depends on how thick the walls of the bowl are. If it's reasonably thick, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. If it was going to be an issue, you'd probably feel the outside of the bowl getting hot when you smoke it. In which case I would just try to let the cake build up as much as possible until it kind of becomes flush, and then just keep trimming it to the normal thickness after that. Condor, I haven't really ever gotten to grips with Condor myself. I've tried it, but just haven't liked it. Well, if you're buying on iHavanas, why don't you get, obviously budget permitting, why don't you get some of the proper Cuban Habanos brands? They're really cheap on iHavanas, really good prices. I've never actually heard of Bob Newhart, but I will. I'm going to check it out. Well, Cal Delta, you just gotta try. You know, you've got it, so you might as well just see how it goes. At the end of the day, if something smokes good, smoke it. Worst thing that could happen is that it could burn through, but I would just try to build up the cake, stick some honey in there, you know, before you smoke it. On a few occasions, that's what I do. Is on a new pipe, I'll certainly put honey in there, and sometimes even on a pipe which I've already smoked quite a bit. I'll every so often put more honey in there just to help build up the cake, and it works. Well, North Country Fisher, iHavanas, I've got a very good record with them. I think over the last few years I've probably made maybe 10 to 20 orders, and I might have been stopped once, maybe. But my advice to you, if budget is not an issue, is I would get a box of 10 perhaps, or a cheaper box of 20, maybe ones that are on the monthly special offers. I wouldn't start with, if you're asking my advice, I wouldn't start with the Jose El Piedro, because they are at the lower end of things, as you just said yourself. Depending on how much you're spending. I mean, have you already ordered it? Indeed you do, Josh. Corum is actually a pretty good smoke. They're not bad. They're a good smoke for the money. And in any event, Cal Delta, what's the option? The option is you don't smoke it, so you might as well smoke it. And worst comes to worst, it'll burn out. Hopefully you didn't pay too much money for it, unless you got the option of returning it. Skull and Drummit. Decent OTC UK cigars. Well, there aren't any. Well, there's one brand, one UK brand, I think, that I'm aware of. But I assume you mean OTC cigars that you can buy in the UK. Well, if you're going to get the short filler cigars or the machine-made cigars, there's loads. You know, you can get King Edward's or the Villagers or anything like that. The problem is that over-the-counter Cuban cigars are just ridiculously expensive here in the UK, and it's just a real shame. And the only real time that I buy retail is when I go and smoke in the shop, like in Dunhill's or JJ Fox's. Henry Winterman's, there you go. Another good brand, machine-made cigars. The Romeo y Julieta, short Churchills, wide Churchills, really very good. If you're talking about the Cubans, if you're talking about the non-Cubans, then count me out. That would be nice to see, Smoky Dragon, really. That would be cool. The Romeo and Juliet Bellicoso, when was that from? What year? OCD? The Romeos are good, but they do need some age, I find. That's the Spirit Cal Delta. Julieta. Okay, Hector. Sorry. There's the intelligentsia getting anal, as usual. Julieta. He's getting all Spanish on us. Oh, White Churchills. If you get a good box of White Churchills, they're fantastic. When I first was getting into cigars back at the tail end of 2016, I tried the Julietas, the Romeo and Julietas, and I didn't really enjoy them. I found them to be really bland. But I was really early on, and I didn't really understand at the time about age and things like that. But now, when I go back and smoke a Romeo with about 2 or 3 years on them at least, they're fantastic. Yeah, I think one of the first Romeo y Julietas I had was a number 3. That was many, many years ago. I was given it at a wedding, and I did enjoy it actually, but I wasn't a cigar smoker at the time. My son was in Cuba a few weeks ago, and dang it, I don't think he brought me a single cigar. Joyo de Monterrey, bit lightweight for me, bit too lightweight. But if you get a good one as well with a lot of age on it, they're also very good. The Joyo de Monterrey Double Corona, I did a video maybe a few months back, and I think I declared on that video that it's the best cigar that I've ever had. It was a Joyo de Monterrey which had about 10 years age on it. It was an aged one which I bought at the Dunhill shop at 1A. And I'm so happy that I didn't smoke it in the shop. I had it cut in the shop just to make sure that it wasn't plugged, because they do suffer from being quite tight sometimes. Okay, Quaker Piper, is that okay for you? Oh, the number 2 is fantastic, North Country Fisher. Again, a little bit of age. You can enjoy them. If they're literally 2018s or 2019s, I wouldn't, honestly. But if you get from 2015 or earlier, they'll be a cracking smoke. They really will. You can't get Auric here anymore. You used to be able to not so long ago, but you can't anymore. Regueras, or however it's pronounced, it's supposedly kind of touted as a lower end Cuban. I don't know why. They certainly present it in a lower end packaging, so it's obviously being marketed as such, but in the shop they're not that much cheaper when you buy them in the shop. I think I've done a video on one of them, but I don't think I was that blown away by it. Pascal, the Double Corona with age, must have some age. I would say 5 years minimum. Yeah, exactly, Hector. However it's pronounced, I give up. Auric hasn't been here in the UK for quite some time. That's a good point, actually, North Country. I never thought of that, why these internet sites don't do pipe. But I think the markup just wouldn't be worth it for them. You know, if people are going to buy a pouch here and a pouch there, it just wouldn't make sense for them. That's why the vast majority of these internet sites don't sell singles. They'll only sell it by the box, because it's just not, they're shifting like huge amounts of boxes. It's not worth their while otherwise. Frankenstein, indeed. You can still buy it in Europe, Phil. I mean, it's not. You can buy it. You can't buy it from Denmark, but you can buy it from Germany, no problem. And I guess if you're going to buy it from Germany, just make it worthwhile and get a few tins so the shipping is worthwhile. What's that you say, Quaker? What's that you say? You're dissing our language, is it? Are you dissing our vernacular? We speak proper English, we do. Exactly, old boy. We don't need to. We are English. Britannia rules the waves. Uh-oh, subscriber count is plummeting again. Gone down from 10,000 subscribers to 3.9 thousand. Oh. What's the Craig bugger? What does that mean? What's the crack? Oh, what's the crack? Your spelling's fantastic, Hector. We had to learn French in school as well, and I completely failed at it. When I did my mock GCSE, in those days it was called, it was even O-level, I think, before GCSE. And I had to give a spoken thing in the exam, and you were allowed to say in English a noun. So if you're talking about a particular subject, so the noun of that subject, say if for instance you were speaking about I don't know, the House of Parliament, you would be allowed to say House of Parliament in English. And my subject was the Wailing Wall, and the only word I got right was the Wailing Wall. I couldn't speak French for toffees. All the best, Toledo. Thanks for joining. Du hast vergessen deine Deutsch. Nicht gut. Nicht gut. And the only American English that you have to understand is, did we get here in time yet? Anything left for us to do? Bonjour, je suis un pipe smoker. Lol. Night, Everett. Thanks for joining. I'm on my last chocolate, people. While you guys have been chatting away, I've been munching. Yum yum. They're not gourmet like, they're gone like, more like. Beards, pipes and I've started Mandarin. Okay, I prefer clementines myself. In a few months, it must be off by now. Where are we? How long have we been on for? What, an hour and a half? Is that long enough? Have we had enough of my very poor humour? You using a telescope there, Phil? Hello, Dallas, Texas. How you doing, Terry? Right, all this cigar talk kind of giving me an appetite for a cigar. Anyone else smoking a cigar right now? Bolivar number 2. Is that a pyramid? Are you sure it's not the Bellicoso Fino? I've never heard of a Bolivar number 2. It doesn't mean that there isn't one, but the only pyramid style one that I'm aware of is the Bellicoso Finos, which is actually a really nice cigar. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night, people. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. I hope this was enjoyable. Phil, Beards, Pipes in Life, OCD, George, North Country, Fisher, Hiccup, Quaker, Hector, Lone Star, Piper, oh, I've got the hiccups, Terry, Rich, Josh, Smoky Dragon, Everett Young, Chad, Mike, if you're still lurking out there, dreaming up your evil challenges, Cal Delta, Toledo, Skull and Drummett, and everybody else, Pascal. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy whatever it is you're smoking, and actually next Saturday night we will have the drawing of my giveaway. You guys, hi Matthew, if you haven't entered in my giveaway yet, please do so. If you go back a few videos, you'll find my giveaway video, my John's 50 video, and I'll be making a pipe specifically for the prize. 1 entry into the giveaway for a comment, 3 for a video, 5 for a first ever video. Incidentally, before I forget, before you all run off, check out BRTV again if you haven't recently. If you watched my recent video about that, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, there's a new feature in there, which is a channel for which anybody could get in touch with Phil, editor at Briar Report, I think it is, .org, something like that. If you get in touch with him, tell him you've got a video that you want to upload, tell him what it's about, and he's gonna he's not going to like be able to upload every single one, but he'll obviously, the more unique and interesting your topic is, the more chance it is of getting on there. So maybe give that a try. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a wonderful week once again. It was a pleasure indeed, George. Good night, good morning, good week, bonne nuit, bonsoir, a gute Nacht. What's it in Spanish? Good night? What other language don't I know? That'll do. Bit late, but hi all. Hello, Damon. Goodbye, Damon. No worries, Terry. Come on a little bit earlier next week, and you can ask any questions you like. We're going to call it a day now, though. We're going to call it a night, a week. Oh, George is getting the mandarins out. Alright, enough faffing around. Later, everybody.